Today we are joined by Ryan Murphy here in Richmond, Virginia, the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Ryan, welcome.
Kenny, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. We're here at your stadium, so
it's an honor for me to be on this podcast.
Really honored. Appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about a couple things. We got a lot of questions from a lot of followers, and we're going to kind of just go through what your journey's been like and just kind of feel some stuff out. So you were a 5th round pick out of a D2 school, which is pretty rare, Lemoyne College.
With the 144th pick of the 2020 MLB draft, the San Francisco Giants select right-handed pitcher Ryan Murphy from Lemoyne College.
What was that whole thing like, going to a D2 and then just kind of ended up where you're at right now?
Well, first of all, shout out Lemoyne College for going D1. They're going to be joining the NEC now, so that's really cool for all you guys that want to go to college. That's a good option for sure. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Oh, the question was, what was it like, going to a D2 program? I know you went to a high school around us here in New York, but ended up at a D2, Lemoyne, and then ended up getting drafted as early as the 5th round. Pretty unheard of.
Yeah, no, I mean, when it came down to that whole recruiting process, I had to be real with myself, first of all. I was a senior in high school, throwing about 85 to 87, and I threw strikes. I knew my worth, and I really wanted to play D1 baseball. That was obviously my huge goal as a little kid. And unfortunately, the cards kind of fell where they did. And, well, I guess not unfortunately, because everything worked out the way it did. And I really loved my time at Lemoyne, and I made a lot of great friends there. And the coaching staff was awesome, and the facility was great. And you know what? At the end of the day, it came down to an ego thing. It was, do I want to fill my ego and go to UAlbany and be a walk-on?
Shout out UAlbany.
Could have been with you.
Shout out UAlbany.
Could have been teammates. We could have known each other a lot earlier. Yeah, so I could have been a walk-on at UAlbany and get no money and, basically take a chance on myself. Or take the money at Lemoyne and, and every coach is going to say, they're going to guarantee you a spot in the, rotation, or you're going to be a big piece of the puzzle. But I really felt that was true when I talked to Scott Cassidy at Lemoyne. And, yeah, so I just kind of went where I felt most wanted at the end of the day, and knew that I was going to get an opportunity to play and grow as a player. And I felt like with Scott, again, he was in the big leagues, so he knew a lot about pitching, and I knew that working under him, I could develop as a better pitcher.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, Lemoyne is definitely known now as a powerhouse for pitching. I mean, you got Coach Sam Burns, another VeloU guy, and you got JoJo Gray, a power starter on the Nationals in the big league. I mean, that's quite the rotation for a D2 school, and to end up where they're at just a couple of years later.
Yeah, dude, they were great at recruiting because, again, Scott, great recruiter, and knows how to pitch, and he knows good pitchers from bad pitchers. And yeah, I mean, JoJo was kind of like one of those guys where he's just super athletic, and you put him on a mound and he just threw gas, and then he just learned how to be a great pitcher. So now he's in the bigs just shoving. So
yeah, I mean, we always knew he was an athlete. I played against him in high school too. He was a shortstop mostly. I saw him pitch once in high school.
Yeah.
But then I remember I didn't follow him or anything, and then I was like, oh, yeah, did he just get drafted?
Quick twitch, really strong dude, really athletic.
Awesome. So take me through, you had your time at Lemoyne, and then, you're getting more serious, and that's looking more and more like you're going to get drafted. Boom, COVID hits. Draft day, what's that like?
Yeah, I didn't really go into expecting much. I remember my coach was telling me that I was gaining some interest, from teams, Giants being one of them. And, I had some pre-draft meetings at Lemoyne, only met with a few guys, but yeah, going into draft day, when they got shortened to 5 rounds, and my buddy was basically texting me, hey man, I'm sorry to hear that, that sucks, basically kind of assuming that I wasn't gonna get drafted. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna sit there and say that I was confident I was gonna get drafted within those 5 rounds. I thought if it was a 10-round draft, I'd have a shot. And the cards fell where they did, and luckily I got picked up by a great organization like the Giants, and it's been awesome. The day I got drafted, I was just watching the TV with my family. We were just watching the draft. Just, you never know. So, and worst case scenario, we were just gonna watch it anyways, even if we didn't get drafted. And we were just watching it, and then I was talking to my agent at the time, and he was just texting me hey, Giants find some interest in you. I was like, cool. Didn't really think of it. And then the Giants pick came up in the 5th round, and they went to a commercial break, and it just took forever to to finally come back to television, and they called my name, and Matt Christian said my name, and it was just a really, really cool experience. And my family went nuts. I went nuts, and then we kind of had a little celebration afterwards, and it was probably one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. It's cool that it just went from like, you know, you had some expectations, and then like COVID really messed everything up for everything, and you're just like, okay, there's only 5 rounds.
Yeah, it was looking bleak.
Yeah, but then cool to have your name called, and then, you know, you're here now at this beautiful stadium, AA.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So, 3rd year of pro ball right now, right? 3rd year?
Yeah, this is 3rd year, yeah.
What would you say, this is a question we got asked a lot, what would you say is the biggest noticeable difference between like a college baseball setting and a pro baseball setting? Obviously, the talent is going to be significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't go D1, so it's a little different story for me, but compared to D2, I mean, there are guys in D2 that could really smash. Like, there are guys that can absolutely rake, but they only had one tool, and that just wasn't enough to get you in professional baseball. Like, you got to have multiple facets of your game, whether it's speed, power, contact, fielding ability, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, you would run into some good hitters in D2, but when it comes to pro ball, you know, they're just all around better baseball players. And then on top of that, as you go up the ladder, more guys have more disciplined approaches. You know, they know the strike zone better. They know what they want to hit. They know what they're looking for. They have a concrete plan at the plate, and you know, and again, they're getting paid to do that. You know, in college, you know, you're just kind of trying to win at all costs.
Yeah.
But it's a little different environment when you know that like this is your job on the line.
Absolutely. I mean, I've only been to one AA game. Obviously, I'm going to be attending tonight's game and your start tomorrow. But I've been to one AA game. That was actually this team playing in Hartford.
Yeah.
About either last year or the year before that, and that was I was like, whoa, this is actually extremely high level baseball. I feel like everybody's throwing absolute gas. I saw a dude hit a ball literally out of the stadium.
Yeah. No, AA is no joke. AA is the talent. Is all big league talent, you know, like to get to this point, like you have to have big league talent. It's just now who is going to execute more often than not, who's going to stay disciplined more often than not, who's going to be mentally tough you're going to run. I mean, you're going to run into struggles. Like this is a tough league to hit in. This is a tough league to adjust to in general when you're going from high A to AA. It's the biggest jump in baseball besides the big leagues.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I've noticed too. I mean, like I said, I've just watched from the stands, but AA seems very, very legit.
It's really competitive. This is quality baseball. It's quality baseball.
I mean, you got a beautiful stadium. What are the crowds like here? What's it like playing in front of a big crowd? Because I know we were talking to Joe LaSorsa when he made his MLB debut, one of our longest standing VeloU guys. He made his MLB debut last week, and I was talking to him like, all right, tell me for real, what was it like?
Yeah.
You went out there, he was facing Marcus Stroman out of the pen, a sold out day game, Wrigley Field, and he's basically like, I couldn't hear anything.
In the sense that he just
blocked out everything and just didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I feel like obviously this is not the big leagues, but you know the crowds that here, you know, I think they average about like 7,000. You know, especially towards the weekend, you know, they really pick it up. The crowd here is awesome. The fans are so loyal and they're just great people too. Like they're very personal. You know, like I know quite a few of them just from going out and signing autographs, and they're always there in the same spot, season ticket holders, you know. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're just great people, and the fans here are great. But it's definitely more of a motivator when you're playing in front of a bigger crowd versus when you're playing in empty stands.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, you look at the facility ball stuff, you got maybe a parent in the stands, if that.
Adrenaline kicks in a little bit, but at the same time, you still, you know, you get used to it after a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. So what I wanted to go in here is I put up on our story before coming out here, ask you a question. A lot of our followers are mostly high school and college guys, so they're going to want to hear stuff from their perspective. Obviously, a lot of them probably don't know pro baseball players, so talking to one or getting answers is good insight they like. So I'm going to just rattle through. A couple of questions here. So one of the questions we got was, what was your velo throughout high school, and what do you top right now?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it was like 85, 87 maybe, and I just tried to throw strikes more often than not.
What year was that? More of senior year?
That was senior year. I think my junior year I was like 83 to 86. Freshman year was probably like 80 to 84. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sophomore year was 80 to 84. Freshman year was probably like 78 to 82. So it just incrementally went up as time went on. But now I've topped at 95. Pretty much sit comfortably like 91, 94.
Cool. Question number 2 that we got. when you feel that your command might be slipping, you're having a day where you're just not hitting the strike zone the way you want, what's your best way to, break out of that? Maybe adjust in game or adjust over, the time before your next outing.
Yeah, it's tough. And I've had my experiences when I've kind of lost it for a little bit. I feel like everyone kind of goes through a time like that, especially when you're trying to get better. You tend to actually make yourself worse sometimes just by fixing what's not broken. And then you put yourself in a situation where now you're not used to the mechanics you're throwing with. But that being said, you try and go back to basics. You just try to think of the things that like are just so simple, and you can't think too much. You can't even think about your mechanics at that point. You just have to think about trusting yourself and repping it out, honestly. And sometimes it doesn't come back right away. It's not just going to happen just like that. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you just get locked back in if you just think about the right cues that you're normally used to, and that's different for everybody. But yeah, I would just say thinking about going back to the basics and like just simplifying everything and not trying to do too much.
Do you have a specific cue? Maybe like say you're in, I don't know, the third inning of a start and that inning's just not going well. Like you're just not hitting your spots the way you were in the first two innings. How do you lock back in for the fourth once you get out of it?
Well, first of all, I think it depends on what I have that day. I'm not going to, if I'm in a jam, I'm going to go to what's working well, whether it's my fastball command or my slider command or whatever the case may be. If it's one pitch is working really well, then I'm going to throw that pitch. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough game.
Yeah, it's not easy.
One of the most common questions we get, and you're going to hate this one, and I hate this one too. What's the best way to increase velo? As if there's one answer to that question.
There's. If I knew the answer, then I would give you a real answer. But to be honest, the best way to increase velo, depending on your age, sometimes it comes down to mechanics of a certain guy. Sometimes it just comes down to how big you are. If you're a 13-year-old and you're like a 90 pounds soaking wet, then like, maybe put some muscle on,
right.
Maybe start eating some more, Also, like, you're just going to go through a growth spurt at some point too. Like, you just got to kind of trust the process. That's why I really do believe in guys that, like, when you're a kid, you should just be focusing on how to actually pitch and how to control your body and just letting it come naturally. That's basically what happened to me was that, I just kind of let it come naturally. And obviously, like, I would get into the gym, but I wouldn't crazy chase velo. I was more worried about like being able to throw the ball to both sides of the plate and throwing strikes when I needed to in certain situations. Obviously the game's changed now, and like you can see, like, high school kids are getting a clear advantage over other high school kids because there's so much stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
And even literally just going to VeloU, like, it's just like they have access to all these things, and it's pretty easy to get better now.
Yeah.
And like there's high school kids that just constantly throw 88 to 92.
Right.
Like it's nobody's business. Like back when I was playing, like 85, 87 was pretty good.
If I saw 88 in high school, I was like, we're losing this game. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. If you saw 88, like you're like, this kid is gross. And you saw 90, you thought he was getting drafted that year.
Right. He was going in the first round that year.
Yeah.
So another question that was sent in is, again, coming from a smaller school, and like, also high school too. Like you went to Ketchum. They're a pretty good baseball school.
Yeah.
Definitely beat me in the section championship, once. But what would you say is the best way to get kind of on a coach's radar, whether that be, college or pro?
Okay. Well, first of all, you got to play. And it's tough for some kids. Like I know Ketchum was really competitive to find a spot to play in.
Stacked team.
Yeah, always. Like I came up as a sophomore. I came up as a second baseman, and I was playing second. And I played 2 games. One game went good. The other game went not so good. And I immediately got sat down. And then I just kind of went up to my coach and said, like, I want to find a way to contribute to this team. I don't want to ride the bench my whole sophomore year and rot. So I ended up pitching in the back cages, and I just so happened to pitch well. And sure enough, like I got my opportunity, and I kind of just took it and ran with it. And that's kind of where I really fell in love with pitching. But yeah, to get on coaches' radars, I mean, like, it's weird now. There's a lot of like showcase money grabs that you got to watch out for.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I think like if you can really like put yourself out there, like go to like those PBR events or go to like to those mass coaching events versus if you get the ones like I had one with, I think, and they asked me to come to a camp. And I think I paid like $200 just to go. Didn't even sniff an offer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it was just a waste of money, just a money grab. And, you know, I think the coach ended up leaving like after that anyways too, on top of that. But, you know, I think if you can just really, you know, get on a good travel team that's going to some good tournaments, you know, and just play well. I mean, obviously you're not going to get any interest if you're not playing well.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's just what it comes down to.
We see so many kids end up on these summer teams where it's like, yeah, I'm on this big name summer team. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, but you don't play. You play
You
one
don't
of the
play.
4
You don't
games
get
a
an
week,
you don't even get an
and
opportunity to show how good
and
you
you
are.
get taken out in the 3rd inning because you're not
Right.
doing well. It's like, that's not going to...
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I mean, and I played for like my local high school's team. And so I was, you know, playing shortstop every day and pitching the first game of the tournaments.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, and, you know, I'm very grateful for that. Like, it's not like something that's just handed out,
Yeah.
right? But like, you know, if you get the opportunity to play, take that opportunity. And I know a lot of guys that played for like Taconic Rangers or like, you know, just some like showcase teams around New York.
I see a ton of success.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Next question is, what is currently your pitch arsenal? So what pitches do you have?
Four-seam fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, and cutter. I just learned to cutter this last offseason. It's still kind of a work in progress, but it's been a pretty gnarly pitch when I throw it to lefties. And honestly, I've been throwing it to righties too. It's just been kind of like that. It almost kind of plays like a changeup in a sense that like if I can just throw it in the zone and have like that fastball look to it, but it's just a little slower, you know, you get a lot more weaker contact. Cool. But I think the bread and butter for me is just my fastball slider combo.
Right.
That's what I typically go to. And then, you know, the curveball is more of just so like a strike stealer, just like, you know, when they're not expecting it, or maybe if I'm setting up, you know, another pitch, it's not necessarily like my strikeout pitcher by any means. But
Gotcha.
same thing with the changeup. It's just kind of like if I'm in a jam and like I know a guy's sitting fastball, maybe I'll just mix in the changeup just to keep him honest.
Cool. Next one is, how often do you throw bullpens in season versus the off season?
In season, 2 times a week. And I think I kind of made that more concrete this year. More so than the past. Yeah, and when you first get into pro ball, like you're throwing every day, you're playing every day, and your rest time is shorter. But like now that I've got a good routine down and I'm feeling pretty good, I can go 2 times a week now and not feel run down. In the off season, I think it's just, well, it depends on what point of the off season I'm at. You know, if it's like, you know, I just getting back into it, I don't probably throw a bullpen for a while. Probably more so just playing catch and stuff like that. But like when it comes down to like we're about to leave to go to spring training, I think I'm at like 1, maybe 2 bullpens a week. And again, it kind of just more so depends on how I'm feeling and like during the time and all that stuff. But I just got to make sure that I'm listening to my body in the off season because I don't want to overdo it. At the same time, you're trying to get better. Stuff. It's not because baseball's not like basketball where you could just go to the gym and just shoot 1,000,000 shots in a row. Like as a pitcher, like you got to use that time really, really wisely. And you only get so many pitches in a bullpen before your arm starts to hurt, and then you're causing yourself injuries, and then you're not even playing at all. You're not even getting better at all. So you just got to make sure that like you're listening to your body, especially in season and in the off season, no matter what. Like if you're feeling good, throw that bullpen. Just make sure you're not throwing too much. Yeah, that's definitely an issue.
Having a plan is basically mandatory if you want to play at the next level.
Yeah.
So I like this question that you got. It was, when did you officially put down the bat?
Well, freshman year of college. Like senior year, high school, freshman year of college for sure. Freshman year of college, I didn't touch a bat ever again. But senior year was pretty much like, well, actually, kind of like junior year. I would more so just hit just for the fun of it. Like if we were blowing a team out, then like they put me in the game to hit. You know, just like if we're on like 10-0. But like hitting stopped. Hitting stopped the minute that I proved that I could actually throw a ball off a mound. Okay. You know, and that was just the way Ketchum ran it. But it honestly gave me more time to actually focus on my craft on the mound and like, you know, but I will say that I think it's important that like kids, you know, try to hold on to that as much as they can. And just do what you love. So if it's you love to hit, then you just stick with that. And if you love to pitch, then go with that. For me, it was just I love to pitch more than I like to hit. I never really felt like a dominant, comfortable hitter in the box ever. I like to, you know, play the field. I thought that was fun, but I can do that while I'm pitching too. So
exactly. All right, I got 2 more for you. The next one is, you have your start tomorrow. You're starting the Saturday game. You get to wear some cool uniforms. what is your routine basically today? Like I showed up here today, you were already getting your throwing in, you were getting your running in, but like what does that routine really look like before a start?
Yeah, so today I'm more so just kind of taking it light. Well, I guess light in volume, but I'm still kind of keeping the intensity like moderate to, you know, somewhat high, just to like, you know, making sure that I'm not like feeling super rusty. I like to do stuff that's called like CNS training, and it's like central nervous system stuff where I just kind of get the like my nervous system going, whether if I'm doing some like jumping stuff, some short sprints, but more or less just like taking it really light on these kind of days and really not trying to max out my body. You know, maybe do some like mobility and stuff like that too, just to kind of keep me feeling good. Tomorrow, let's see, like tomorrow I'll wake up. Oh, sorry, there's someone just got hit. Tomorrow I'll come in and I'll pretty much just sit around and just kind of try and lock in. It's tough because, you know, you get to the field early and like you don't really do anything until game time. I think game time's at 6:30 tomorrow. So I'll probably start my routine at about an hour and a half before the game. I'll meet with a trainer and he'll do some, you know, soft tissue stuff to get me, you know, feeling good and moving correctly. And then I'll do my warm-up prep routine before I go out and stretch, and that would just be like, you know, doing some isometric holds just to kind of get the blood flowing, feeling strong, and getting a little loose, make sure my hips are stretched out. About an hour from game time, roughly, so about a half hour from game time, I'll go out and I'll start stretching, and then do my plyo routine, my rewires, and the thing I'm focusing on in catch play is just competing and feeling good. I'm not trying to think about anything else. I'm not trying to think about creating velo. I'm not thinking about, you know, how my body should be moving and all that stuff. More so just feeling good, feeling loose, just letting it rip in the outfield. And then I get on the mound and I do my whole pitching routine, which for me is just, you know, 2 fastballs in and out, and I'll throw every pitch of my arsenal pretty much. So like 2 curveballs, 2 sliders, and then take a break, get back on, go 1 time through again, and then it's game time.
Awesome. Last question for you, and I think I can actually answer this for you. What does a day in the life look like? I am going to be following you around a little bit tomorrow, kind of get your routine, see what's going on. So stay tuned for the YouTube video for that. And yeah, I'll let you go now. BP just started for the Flying Squirrels, taking on the Altoona Curve tonight. And yeah, it's kind of all I got. So nice. Thanks for letting me enjoy the stadium and
yeah, dude,
2 good ball games here.
Yeah, hope you enjoy it. Thanks for having me, Kenny.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye.